Hello, my name is Jessica Oliveras and I'm a painter from Spain. I am originally from a small town near Barcelona and I grew up there until I was 21 years old. Then I decided to move to the UK in London to continue my studies. As a child, I was always painting. My father is a painter here in Spain, so he was the one teaching me the fundamentals of drawing and painting. And I attended a very local art school when I was a child as well, until I was 16. Then I had a little bit of a break from my paintings. It was a little bit of a rebellious time, together with a lack of technique. And I found it like painting was very frustrating because it was very complicated, and I wanted to do figurative painting, but at the same time I didn't have the skills yet to do a wood painting. So instead of continuing, I decided to drop it and focus on my studies. So I went to study nursing because I like to work with people, and I was hoping to be able to give something to the community. After I finished my degree in nursing, it's when I realized I didn't really like the job. So the solution that I found at the time was to continue studying and specializing in midwifery, which in London is a completely different degree. But as well, there is a short program that was enabling me to continue my studies further without losing my previous experience as a nurse. So it's then when I decided to move to London, because in the UK the natural childbirth is much more included in society, in the mindset of people, and in the natural healthcare system. So definitely my experience as side painting has influenced my work, but it was not until I was already in London at the university that I decided to retake my brushes, continue painting, and I rented a separate studio in Hackney. And this allowed me to switch from acrylics to oils, and I improved my technique. I established already a personalized style. I did commissions, and I started to showcase and exhibit my work. It was a good step. It was a little bit complicated because I didn't work in oils at all, so I had to learn them on my own. But after like so many experimentation and doing many different paintings that it was below my wished standards, I managed to improve. And it's when I saw painting as a potential career, and I decided to reduce my hours in the hospital as a midwife to increase my hours in the studio. Until it was probably like a couple of 3 years ago that I decided to completely change careers, and then I focused on a full-time career as a painter, and I dropped my midwifery job. And a year and a half as well, I decided to move back to Spain to reconnect with my roots, to reconnect with my family and the place I'm coming from. Throughout the different years, I've been as well traveling around the world. I met people from completely different ethnical and cultural backgrounds. So all the experience I had aside from my painting really helped me shape the way I like to portray people and the way I like to portray women. And I think the midwifery experience has really impacted my work, because I don't try to portray a beautiful muse following certain standards, for example in the fashion industry, or certain beauty standards, but rather to portray women on their natural self. I paint women that I know, my friends, my ex-colleagues from hospital, other midwives, family members, people that I really admire and have a close relationship with, and this allows me to completely picture them and portray them in the more natural sense. So I'm not that focused on a certain concept, but rather translating my own experiences in life into paintings and painting the women and the people I know the best. So my biggest inspiration have changed throughout the years. It started from when I was a child. It was my father, obviously, because it was the main point of reference to learn from. Then I went on to develop certain curiosity for master painters such as Sorolla and Turner for their use of light, and I think from them I translated the concept of light into a more contemporary approach, because I use a lot of colored lights and different light sources to get like a very chromatic and a very wide range of color palettes in my portraits. And in a more contemporary situation, I like many painters on a personal level. If I should say one, I would like to mention Lita Cabellud, who is a Spanish painter who is actually nowadays working in the Netherlands, and I really admire her work, and I've been following her for a very long time. And in terms of like inspiration that directly influenced my work, I would say it's just my own experiences in life, the way I see people, the way I see the people that is around me, the way I feel and translate these feelings into paintings. So it's more of like an analysis of a self-therapy to try to understand certain situations and the way I sometimes think, feel and act, to portray all of this into a painting. So there is this differentiation, like a source of inspiration that has been being like a reference throughout the different years, and that could be any painting, any like a specific color that we found. It started from specific figures like my father, the masters, certain contemporary painters, but this is one thing, and the other is like what it actually inspires me to do my work, to do my paintings, which is a completely different source of inspiration. I'm an oil painter, so I work with oils. I've been working mainly figurative, so this means that I paint people quite hyper realistically, I would say. I like to focus a lot on details. But I'm exploring this relationship between realism and abstraction, because I like to have complex and almost collage-like backgrounds, with as well very chromatic colors, a different like a range of colors within the same painting. So there is like this contraposition between figurative work and abstraction within the same piece of work. I'm currently working on a series that is named Identity. It's the English translation of Identidad, which is the Spanish original title. And this area has been created in kind of like a time for me to adapt back to my country and try to link both worlds, try to link the people and the experiences I lived in London with my let's say new life here in Spain. That I thought that this would be like a kind of like a mild transition, because I'm actually just going back home, but the change has been massively after 8 years in London. So I had to do some work in order for me to digest and kind of like get my head around all these like mixed feelings I've got from this experience. So in this area we can see that they are portrayed my sisters, but at the same time friends from London, in a way of like link both worlds into one, and trying to help me to find my identity, find back who I am, and where I come from, meaning my place of origin, but together with the experiences that I've been building up throughout these years. I'm hoping that I'll finish this series by the beginning of summer, and then I'll be starting a new one with a completely different concept, but maintaining my painting style. What is the biggest challenge of being an artist? In my experience, I think my biggest challenges have been dealing with the uncertainty of not knowing if you will be able to sustain yourself in terms of economy, so money-wise. And the second, dealing with so much solitude, because a painter needs to be in the studio for many hours and for many days a week. So this period you need to be alone in order to be able to be efficient and create work, but at the same time this can be quite heavy because you start to feel after a while this solitude that you need to make sure you are putting some time into socializing and interacting with other people. So I think those are or have been and still are my biggest challenges. Now I'm a full-time painter. I'm lucky that I'm able to live from my own paintings, but it's true that you never know. You will never know next month if you'll be selling paintings or if you'll have a new commission. Each month it varies. So I think this it's a kind of like a situation or a problem that many artists in all different genres and specialities find themselves in. What advice would you give to your younger self? I grew up in a household that has been very proactive in terms of business and finding solution to problems. So I always been encouraged to break rules and find my own ways. But at the same time, there has been like a conversation about painting quite strongly about how complicated it is to be able to live from our own paintings. And I think this has influenced me into, at the beginning, not believing that it was possible to be able to be a full-time painter. So that's the reason why I went on to study something else to secure a more steady job. I wouldn't give an advice of just focus on painting and you don't need to study anything at university. But probably when I was already at uni, that I was already accessing to a higher education, that it's always useful even for personal situations in life, to have this higher level of perhaps resources or understanding, or even education in terms of discipline. Perhaps there I would have given myself an advice of consider painting a little bit earlier than what you would give otherwise the chance, because it there is a high probability that it will work. So trust your instincts, trust your art, and go for it. And you don't have to wait many years to do this step of being a full-time painter. You can quit your midwifery job a little bit earlier on, and trying to spread your works and to build this career as an artist. Have you ever tried any unconventional mediums or techniques? I tried quite a few unconventional or non-traditional mediums, especially with like cracking varnishes and cracking sprays, trying to find like a different kind of textures from like the regular acrylic or oil finishings. But I didn't really like them. It was just part of my experimentation process that we all artists we should really go through before we actually are able to find our style and the medium that we feel more comfortable working with. But now that I'm already like certain of who I am as an artist and the kind of work I do, I wouldn't like to change my main medium, which is oil paint, for anything else. This does not mean that I'm not open to try different things with the oil. So in my paintings there are sprays, there are oil sticks, there is clay, there are things that they complement my oil painting, but my oils are the base, are the basics from where I work from. Do you listen to music or have any other type of background noise while you work, or do you prefer complete silence? It depends on the day, but on average I like to listen to podcasts on the morning, or maybe nothing. So it's either nothing or podcast in the morning, because I'm more like a night owl. So for me, mornings are difficult, and I like to have like a slow transition into the day. And too much noise might interfere with my concentration or my mood into start to work in the studio. As well, I must say that I don't paint until 10 o'clock in the morning. This does not mean that I'm not in the studio working, but I just do something else. If I am in the studio, for example, by 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning, I revise my emails, I edit my photographs. So all the things that the painter needs to do, but they are not directly technical things of basically it's not just painting, so all those things that they still need to be done, I do them before 10 a.m. and then I start painting. And then on the afternoon I normally continue listening either to podcasts or I introduce music, and the music really varies depending on the day. For example, if I like something more like quiet, maybe I will listen to some indie or some acoustics or something like that. Maybe I would say like groups like Crystal Fighters and this kind of music. But if I feel very tired, that sometimes happens, but still early, I need to finish a commission and I need to push it a little bit further, I need to listen to some Latin music, because it gives me really the energy to really push through. So more commercial Latin music, it's always good to give like a good boost of happiness and even like mood of dancing and getting over the challenge of the afternoon and evening. So normally this is the things I tend to listen. What's the best reaction someone has had to your artwork? Well, the ones that I've witnessed, I'm very lucky to say, or to be able to say, that they all been very positive. I'm sure that there has been people that has encountered my work and didn't like it, but this happened, I guess, during maybe scrolling down on Instagram or visualizing my website, but nothing that I've seen or has spoken to somebody who has not liked my work. So I'm already very grateful for that, and for all the encouragement that I receive from people. And the best reaction I've got is a friend of mine that started to cry when she saw one of my most recent pieces, and it was a really, really beautiful moment, because seeing somebody who is so touched and so moved by one of your paintings is a really rewarding situation to witness. What do you hope people take away from your artwork? It's an interesting question, but I don't hope or expect anything, because I don't think I'm in a position to neither ask for or demand what people should take away or feel when they encounter and they are in front of one of my artworks. I like to leave this door open because it will depend on the person, it will depend on the situation, it will depend on how the painting is displayed, probably the day and the time, if it's sunny or rainy outside. All these so all the context is important, and all the context influence us. So just any reaction or any feeling or any memory or whatever comes to the mind and to the heart of a person that is seeing my work is good enough for me. I wouldn't like to stereotype my work, neither the kind of like feeling and intake that the audience should have by seeing my paintings. Thank you very much for listening, and if you would like to see my works, you can visit my website at www.jessicaoliveras.com. As well, my Instagram handle is Jessica with double S Oliveras, OLIVERAS art. And I keep my socials and my website updated, but if you would like to be the first to know about upcoming events or available works, you can register to my newsletter, and you will find this option in my website. Thank you very much.